Hello, good morning. How are you? I hope and pray you're fine. And we are back to another session. I am called Triza, Patricia Ching, and most people just call me Tripat because I own a spa at in Kisumu, sorry, and it's called Tripat Health Garden. So that's how I get the name Tripat mostly. I'm happy to be here today, and I think it's been long since we had another talk session. Uh, Before we get straight on what we are going to do today, I would just love to tell you that Tripat Health Gardens is a spa that deals exclusively with organic products for your skin. We get to use just natural products to treat your skin, from your face to the body scrubs. We use organic oil, we use organic glaze to mask your body, and usually the outcome is really awesome. So please follow our page Tripat Health Garden so that you can learn more about what we do, and give us a call. Then maybe we can be able to make your skin glow as well. Probably you're wondering why today I'm dressed in my cape and I'm looking a bit relaxed. This is because of our topic today, which I'll go straight to. Today we are talking to teens again, as I said, young adults and adolescents. And today we want to look at their view of the future. These adolescents, they are our children, they are people we are mentoring. And remember the other time we talked about respect, but not in a very broad way, but just uh, how we can begin teaching them and showing respect so that they can be able to emulate us, and they can also be able to learn and know how to live in the society. So today is really about, it's really a teen talk, but we are talking to parents and caregivers as well, so that we help our children realize what the future is about. I think this topic for me is I'm going to talk about it in maybe 3 or 4 videos so that we can be able to understand it in a broad way. So today, quickly, I'll go to what I had prepared for us. So adolescents and view of the future. First, we need to understand who is an adolescent. They are out there, and probably some of them are thinking they're still so young, or some of them think they're out of it. But well, most people have it from around 12 years. They say from around 12 years to about 20. Those are our teenagers, and I think right now we can slightly move it into 11 years because our kids are kind of growing up very quickly. So adolescent is just a transitional stage of physical and psychological development that generally occurs during the period of puberty into adulthood. Yeah, so we want to find out, like, for our children, are they prepared of the future, or how do they get prepared for the future? You know what's funny about adolescents mostly is the way they view the future. you know Most adolescents just imagine that the future is full of good times, that it is easy to just walk in there and get your dreams up there. Like, during this period of being a teenager or a young adult, there's so much dreams, so much of what they would want to be when they grow up. So most of them, or almost all of them, they view it as successful, like a good life, and they also believe that when they grow up they'll have more opportunity even to get ahead of their parents' generation. This I know we are supposed to guide them. It's not like, yes, this happens to some of them, they get ahead of us, but we need to guide them into that. It shouldn't be a dream. They should realize that it is something they should work hard towards, as much as they have dreamt that they would be there. And good life and success is not a bad thing. It is something that, of course, they all want, but how do they get there? We as family are the ones who really need to guide our teenagers on how to get there. Like, family mostly affects or influences how the young adults, the teenagers, think about their future, and how hard they work towards it. So family is the greatest unit that does this, whether you're just a caregiver or the real parent or just a guardian. But just know that these teenagers are in our hands. they are our own children. They don't come from anywhere else. So we need to actually know how to guide them and help them transition into that easily. So, so what's a future? What's a future? Probably there's a teenager out there asking now, this future she keeps talking about, what is a future? A future, this is just where you get to negotiate, puberty and the completion of growth, like your sexuality, how you develop cognitive skills, your degree of emotional, personal, and financial stability. Do you get to think about these things when you're a teenager? Some of us, I think, when I was growing up, this was not something that we were, guided into. We just found ourselves growing into adulthood, and I mean, we goofed, made our mistakes, and I'm not saying making mistakes is not part of being a teenager, yes, but with guidance, then one realizes this is a mistake and probably I need to follow this other route, or I need to do this other one. So most of these teenagers are not most, but all, let me give an 80% because I know some parents knew this earlier and they are trying so hard. Most of these adolescents are not future oriented. They hardly think of it, and they don't anticipate consequences. They don't plan ahead before acting. Most of our teenagers, but we need to help them, as I said before. So, what influences our adolescents view the future? As I said, it is the family surrounding, like the people they are with every day. If you take them to boarding schools, then those teachers who are there, those peers who are there, so we need to train them, we need to guide them, we need to reward, we need to punish, because all these are ways of guiding them into what they want to be. Okay, so these teens, let's not forget that they are our future in our homes, in our country, as leaders, as mothers, as parents, just generally. So these teens, and fathers, of course. So these teens need to be actually taken care of more specially than all these other groups. When they are babies, you can sometimes reward by beating up when they probably make a mistake. But when they are teenagers, then things like sometimes beating up really rewards negatively for some of them before you understand them properly. So we need to understand who they are. And it is the dream of every parent to raise a morally upright child with discipline. And it is not easy. But it is also a two-way street. The parent needs to give in some bit of her, the children need to give in a bit of this, they need to come together, the parents need to recognize the child's personality. At this point, the parent is really like a gardener. You water your plant well, you weed, you spray when you realize that it has some diseases almost affecting it, you provide a little sunshine. And remember, sometimes when it rains, because it needs water, it rains so hard, and even some plants die. At this point, I'm not talking about dying in the sense of this teenager dying literally, but dying in the sense that it's a bad habit, probably, and you need to punish it. We need this bad habit to die. So sometimes the way we love them needs to be a little tougher than how we do our normal, loving and care. So as parents, we have really a lot to do so that we are able to guide these, teenagers into the future. So understand these teenagers. We are talking about teenagers and the future. So I'm talking about the family as the unit that really helps to guide these teenagers into the future. So we need to understand and balance, of where to place boundaries, where to encourage, where not to encourage, that is discourage, where not to be spoiled. We need to know that at this point, yes, I need to treat my child to this because she did this, so this is a positive reward. But there is this point where there's a negative reward. We need not to spoil. We just need to love the right way. Okay? And you need to, the distance between you, when you give bad distance. I don't know if we all understand that as a parent. There's distance that is very good. You place your child closer to you, they're able to tell you everything happening to them, anyone who's trying to take advantage of them, anything not going right for them. But there's bad distance. You just want this child next to you, like throughout, all the time, without teaching them, without training them. When you go to your social joints, they are accompanying you, they see what people do out there, then in future you start crying and saying they're not doing the right thing. Then I think that way we are giving bad distance. There is good distance. And avoid that generational gap. you know when you place them so far away from you, then they do not know how to assimilate, they do not know how to get closer so that they can learn. Otherwise they end up learning from the people outside the family, which is the unit that probably they really need to be learning from. So proper understanding will help, an in-depth understanding and complete understanding. And then parents, do not keep comparing your children with other peers. Our children are unique individually. All of us are unique. Our peers are unique, and they take it offensively when you keep comparing with other peers. Remember, they know each other more than you do. Probably the person you're comparing them with, they know something really, 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 really negative about them. But they wouldn't tell you because, of course, you wouldn't believe. You already regard those peers very highly, higher than your child. So stop comparing your children to other peers. Just take them as yours, as unique as they are, and talk to them. This will help them even as they think about the future, to be able to trust themselves and not to always look on the side to find out if they are doing a good thing because the other peer is doing it or not doing it. So always remember, you are as old in parenting as your first child. My first child this year is or should have been about 15 years old, 16 rather, sorry. And I think I'm a 16-year-old parent. That's how I need to understand that. So we are as old as our first children in parenting. So from our first child, that's when we take the parenting lessons. We don't take it from somebody else who tells us, if that child does this, beat them up. No, this child has characteristics that are different from any other child. So we need to remember that we don't need to compare our children to any other children. So for parents, generally, I'm just trying to say, when I say parents, I mean also caregivers, I mean anyone else who's taking care of anybody. We are the ones to shape the future of these teenagers. We are the ones to help them know which direction to take. Children, teenagers, for them the future sometimes is really absolute. Like they have dreams. They imagine it's going to be blissful. They imagine, oh, my parents are suffering, I must not suffer, I will not suffer. But they don't know how to get there. So we have to help them get there. But for teenagers, also for the young adults, remember, the future, as you always told, is in your hands. Listen to your caregivers, listen to your advisors, listen to all these people who mean well to you. When you're not sure about something, always run it through the person who you trust most in the family. And I think next time when we talk, we want to talk about how to communicate with our children, the peers, the young adults, how to make our kids listen to us when we speak, how to correct children's mistakes or discipline them, how to deal with the stubborn or defiant child, and good parenting skills to practice in front of our children, and how to break bad habits. I think today that will be enough for our session. I hope we have learned a thing or two, but we will keep talking about this because I really value the young adults who are getting into the young adults who are getting into adulthood very soon. We train them well. Remember, families become more stable, and this institution of, sorry to say, I'm singling this out, of even marriage, for those who would love it in future, they will get into it with a very clear perspective of what should be done, and not to mess themselves up as they walk right through it, or any other thing they decide to do with their future. They will be bold enough to face it, and they will be bold enough to even know how to negotiate it. I want to thank you very much for listening to me today. I really appreciate your presence. May God bless you, and may you go through your daily activities with God's grace and guidance. Thank you very much, and see you next time.